Welcome to today's episode of Conversations with Karen and Kat. And I'm Karen Scott Green.
And I'm Kat Hardrick.
And we are joined today. We are live.
Live,
We
yes.
are live. We are streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn, and also on YouTube. And we are
Yeah,
here today to talk about education, the
that's right.
miseducation of our children. And so joining us today, first we have Candace Washington, and Candace is with Black Education Station. She is the director of PR and communications, and later we'll be joined by Hotep. So, Candace, tell us about the why for Black Education Station, how it started. Give it to us.
I'll start by telling people what it is, just in case they don't know. So, what Black Education Station is a streaming television platform. It's an app that can be downloaded onto any streaming device. So, your televisions, your phones, your tablets. And basically, what it entails is educational content for children ages 0 to 10. It is 100% Black owned, which I love. It is also curated by educators. So
Mhm.
a lot of us who are on the board or who are in executive positions within the company are either consultants working in education, former teachers, things like that. So everything that is on the platform is appropriate for children. It's commercial free, so no ads or anything like that that would potentially be inappropriate for our kids. And
Mhm.
it's just a safe space for content for kids to watch. The why behind it is actually kind of an interesting story. The family who started the network, they want to remain anonymous so they don't come out and do things like this. Like, it would be awesome if they would actually do this instead of me, but that's why they hired me. Uh, but so it was during COVID, and they were looking for educational content for their children. They had small kids, and
Mhm.
they couldn't find anything, and the things that they found were kind of few and far between, so they weren't able to find good quality content all in one place.
Mhm.
So they came up with the genius idea to create a network called Black Education Station, where all of that content can be housed, and it could just be somewhere for our kids to just really be in a place where they can see people who look like them, reflections of
Right.
themselves teaching them, and also be entertained. So it's like I was saying earlier, it's an exciting journey. We had a soft launch about a year ago today.
Mhm.
And we had our official launch Black Friday of 2022. So it's been an interesting journey, a lot of ups and downs, but we are excited. Everything is going well. And I'm excited to be here and talking to you ladies.
And so we have been joined by Hotep, who is an educational media mogul. I love that. 'Cause that's a whole mouthful. And so, but first
Okay.
off, we're talking about the miseducation of our children. That's the topic of this. That's the
That's
topic of
the
this
podcast.
episode.
Mhm.
I would be remiss if I did not point out that we do have Black excellence in the house with Candace and Hotep. Candace
Okay.
is a graduate of Spelman
Woo,
College here in
woo.
Atlanta, and the brother college to that would be Morehouse College. And so AUC. So I know that you two come from a wealth of information and positively and Black learning from these two institutions. So Hotep, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what your role is as a educational media mogul
Mm.
at Black Education Station?
Yes, well, good evening, Karen and Kat, and hello, Candace. How you doing? It's good to see you. It's good to be here. I thank you for the opportunity to share the work that I've been doing for many years now, and the most recent iteration of this work is, as you see behind me, the anime series Black Lion and Cubs. Now,
Mhm.
myself, I'm a former school teacher. I retired in 2010 and built a consulting practice.
You look like you're 30. How are you retired from teaching?
Yeah, I'm about to turn 50 this year, but thank you very much.
All
Yeah,
right. All
yeah,
right.
Good genes.
yeah. Me and hip hop, we're like this. You understand? So Yeah, I'd been a teacher for many years. I retired, built a consulting practice. And so in my business, I work with schools and school districts around the country, helping them turn around or implement uh, practices that'll help them perform at a higher level, focusing more on areas of climate and culture. And, the majority of schools that I serve are um, what they call low income Title I schools. Okay.
Okay.
And so I serve nationally. Within that capacity, though, providing professional development for teachers and strategic planning for administrators, I also started creating curriculum. So for the last almost 20 years now, I've been creating, writing books and just creating a multitude of different types of products for K-12 schools. So I have curriculum for schools. I have card games, video games, coloring books, reading books, textbooks, lesson guides, learning videos, and all of that work that I had done for those schools
Mm-hmm.
led me up until 2019, where my wife and I had our first son, our first child in 2019, and then a second one in 2021. And so that experience, having my own children instead of being, as I used to say, father to the fatherless, has re-inspired and reinvigorated the real creative aspects of who I am. And I told you guys my age, so I grew up on the original Nintendo, Transformers, Thundercats, Voltron,
Uh, you
all
going
of those,
back.
right? Yeah.
Thundercats, ho!
Oh, right. Yeah, He-Man. So all that, I grew up on that. And, you know, one of the, for those of you that are parents, one of the unique experiences that and opportunities that we get as parents is to relive our own childhood, show our children, introduce our children to the music and the things that we grew up on when we were their age. So going through that process, I saw what my children liked and things that were catching their attention. But I also realized that, lo and behold, as much as I loved all these shows, I didn't see much of us. I didn't see many Black people. Yeah, So being that, as you guys know, I'm a creator. I'm Morehouse grad. An innovator and a visionary, and the son of Marcus Garvey. I don't wait for opportunity. I create it. And so where I saw the void, particularly in today's now iteration of anime and heroes, I said, well, listen, let me go ahead. I said, son, you like that? My other son, you like that too? Daddy can create that, right? Yeah. And you mothers know that same sentiment, because when your children like to go to McDonald's, eat those McDonald's burgers, you be like, oh, you like burgers? Mommy can make that burger, right?
Right.
Nobody got no
But
McDonald's money. So let me ask you this, Hotep. I'm sorry, Kat. I know that you're creating content that has characters that look like our children, that look like us. What in the curriculum do you see in curriculum that's being endorsed by states? What are you seeing that's missing? Because I'm thinking particularly like states like Florida that are taking out like what they think is critical race theory, even though that's not being taught on K through 12, and that's only in college curriculum. What are you seeing? What are the two of you seeing that school systems are missing when it comes to educating our Black and brown children?
Candace, you want to start, or you want me to
I don't know if
continue?
that's loaded, but
Yeah, it was definitely loaded. Actually, it's funny that you mentioned that, because we have town hall meetings. Black Education Station is actually hosting town hall meetings once a month through the end of the year. And our topic is Project Florida, or Operation Florida. And we're talking about all the mess and everything that's happening down there with guest speakers and panelists every month. But one of the big things I think that specifically Black Education Station addresses that's missing in schools is the teaching of Black history.
okay.
Even when I was in school, and this was before all this mess started happening, there was no like curriculum until I got to college. When I went to Spelman, of course, we had tons of curriculum, but growing up, there was no curriculum that taught anything about Black history. So that's something that I had to get at home. And that's something that I have a 10-year-old daughter. That's something that she has to get at home as well. So that's one like huge gap in school curriculum. It's either not taught or it's mistaught, right? So that to me is the biggest thing that's missing. I don't know, Hotep, if you have anything. I know you
Yeah.
do.
In addition to that, the truth of the matter is, uh, I hate to, no, I'm not going to go down that road.
Go
Uh,
down this road. That's why we here. Tell it like it is. Come on now.
Because we want to hear from the experts, right?
That's
yeah.
You
right.
two are
Okay.
right. You're writing curriculum. You're there. You're on the front line of like what schools, and you're providing valuable resources to schools. So we want to know as a parent. My youngest one is a senior in high school, but I have grandchildren. What can I do as a grandparent to supplement what, because they're in public school. So what can I do as a grandparent to supplement what they're getting in school?
And mentors. Like when we're dealing with these kids as a village, it takes a village. So we need to support. So tell it like it is, Brother Hotep.
Yeah.
That's why we got you on here. Look, I know you don't hold back. I've seen you in action. So go ahead. Let
Okay.
our
So
viewers know.
number one, if anybody listening, including Karen and Kat, you guys, now number one, if you're looking for something to supplement your children's education and their emotional and social and development and empowerment, the first thing is Black Education Station. Like that's why I endorse Black Education Station. That's why my series is exclusively on Black Education Station. What they're doing is extremely revolutionary. It's powerful beyond what most people know, so that's number one. Next to that, this is what I want to say, and I'm gonna make it clear because I've been thinking about when and how I was gonna say this. This is the first time I'm gonna say this publicly. Okay, it's important that all parents know, white, black, doesn't matter. Public schools are the government cheese of education.
Whoa.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is what everybody needs to know. Okay, yes,
Government cheese of education.
yes,
Okay, you're gonna
public
have to unpack
schools.
that, brother.
Yeah. All right. Public schools are the government cheese of education. Now, what does that mean? All things that are provided by the government, right, tend to be low quality, very standardized. Uh, you go to the post office, right? The post office can't compete with FedEx because the post office is a government-led institution. All across the board, anything that is run by the government is rife with low quality people, right? And low quality standards because the government's attitude is, hey, it's free, or you guys are just getting it, so we're just going to do the baseline bottom line. Here's your government cheese. It's got the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s in it, and that's all you're going to get from us. If you want, if you want the premium, you're going to have to pay for it. Okay. So I say all that to say not to disrespect public schools because I work with, and endorse. My oldest son is in a public school right now. But it's important that people understand the context of what public schools are and what they've been designed to do. They are the the government cheese of education. That being said, anybody that's grown up on government cheese knows that, yeah, it may be government cheese, but if you got the right cook, man, you can flip it down.
Macaroni and cheese.
Man, hold on now. Okay, so don't let me stop. Don't ever, please. If you guys are gonna edit this, don't just stop.
Well, this is live,
brother. We live,
okay.
brother.
Yeah, because don't let anybody say, "Oh, Hotep just said they're the government cheese," and that's it. He's disrespecting public schools. I'm saying that's the context. But what can happen is if you have people that are creative, visionary, like Black Education Station is, people that are serious about, giving better than what the standard is, then you can create a gourmet, meal with that thing. And so that's what we've been doing at Hustle University and Makeaway Schools, is helping public schools serve the gourmet highest standard of education to their children. So my point in saying all that context is to preface my statement to say that one of the things that public schools are missing is flavor. Right, like the majority of their curriculum and the things that they endorse are straight up corny. Right, they're just they're just corny, and they're well intended, but they're corny. They're not relevant. Okay, they're not engaging, right? And so that's part of the reason why my organization has been hired and continues to be hired around the country, because they're looking for flavor for that government cheese, right? They're looking for something that's more nutritional, right? Has better nutrients and more wholesome, and that's something that people are actually going to eat, right? And so that's the context, and that's what's missing in public schools by and large. And the last thing I want to say is that the social emotional learning is what should be the number one priority of schools. Unfortunately, you hear the conversation in the creed, but lacks in the deed. All right. And
I can agree
so
with that.
that's something that is lacking. And again, this is not about being black or anything. The social emotional development of our children is missing in our public schools. And again, that's part of the reason why Black Education Station is so important in its existence, and that why parents need to go ahead and take their $9.99. Don't complain about $9.99 a month. You know how much I spend a day on parking or whatever. Don't tell me your child isn't worth $10 a month. You understand what I'm saying? All right, I'm gonna stop right there. Thank you.
So, Kat, I know
Listen,
you're
I
chopping
had
at
the
the bit. Go
privilege of
ahead.
seeing you. I had the privilege of seeing you in person, and I already know what time it is. Look, I'm so glad you came on. When Candace was like, we gonna get Hotep, I'm like, yes. Because, honey, he is something else. But we want you to be so transparent in telling the listeners that, because people need to know that. I'm glad you mentioned how much it costs, because that's a question that I want you guys to dive into that. But I also wanted to ask, Karen, what is it that the school board in Gwinnett County, they haven't changed something since the 80s? What is that, their curriculum or something that they haven't revamped? The teachers and stuff, they're still going off of some
Is it the
type
AKS?
that's the 1980s, and they're trying to revamp that.
It may be the AKS, which is the Academic Knowledge System. It may be the AKS. But I did want to respond to one thing, Hotep, when you were talking about public schools being the government cheese and, needing a little bit more flavor. What I have found, because my kids have been, like, we've done all three, right? We've done homeschool, we've done private school, we've done public. And I have a child, one of my children who's now out of school. He was, he learned differently, right? When they were in private school, the private school didn't have the resources to be able, even though we were paying for it, they didn't have the teachers with the knowledge to be able to teach him. And when we got to the teachers had master's degrees, some of them had doctorate degrees. And a lot of people don't know this, but you put your kids in private school, and some of those private schools don't even require, particularly if they're faith-based, don't even require the teachers to have bachelor's degrees. So, and I just say that to say people need to make sure that they are, just because it's private doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best solution for your child. Agreed. And because I found that to be the case, and my kids coming to public school actually were able to get the one who learns differently. He was able to get more resources, in the public school setting, and we've had a very good experience in the Gwinnett County public school system. And I know that's not the case for everyone, and so there is no one size fits all. This is kind of like, the slipper don't fit everybody. And if it don't fit, you kind of got to figure out how to make it work. And that's part of why we wanted to talk to the two of you at Black Education Station, because we know that for so many of our Black and brown kids, it doesn't work. My kids just happened to have a parent who's kind of crazy and was in there advocating, making sure that they got the things that they needed, and, and wasn't afraid to try different things. Not everybody is crazy.
That is not crazy, girl. That's how you're supposed to be as a parent. Like, the school should know who you are. The teachers should know you. Like, that's normal.
You should have a relationship with your school.
Yes.
They should know our first name, and it should be a community. My question is, what I was trying to say with that antiquated curriculum that they have in Gwinnett County, how do you guys come up with your curriculum to teach on your website, Black Education Station, one, and then two, when you educate teachers, Hotep, do you guys cross with your curriculum to the public schools, or no? You just strictly Black Education Stations. When you teach the teachers, do you give some of that to them too?
Okay, so we're talking about a few different things here, right? So I don't own Black
Okay.
Education Station. I'm one of the content creators for the network. So
So I can speak to kind of how we develop our content on the network. So our content is actually created by several different content creators. So we have content creators who we found on YouTube. We've had content creators who've reached out to us directly, who want to create content or who have content that they want to have on our network. So our content comes from a variety of places, and then once it's in our database, it's reviewed by the teachers and former educators that we have on staff, and that is how it eventually arrives on our network. So we aren't necessarily creating the content ourselves. We are just curating it, making sure that it's appropriate for kids, and having it all in one place.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But Black,
that's good. How much?
Go ahead. Sorry, Kat.
How much is it a month?
It's $9.99 a month, and I always say I think that's how much Netflix costs. So if you have Netflix or Disney or HBO,
all that.
HBO is more, I think. So all of
I
that.
think Netflix is too now.
You should have Black Education Station as well, or instead of. So you take your pick.
Especially if you have children. I mean, this is no excuse. Shame on you as a parent, a Black parent in particular, to say you got to know you have these things and don't have this, and want to make excuses to why you don't. And I'm saying that humbly but explicitly, right? Explicitly. Mm-hmm.
And so
a lot of times hear people say that they don't know what to teach their kids about Black history, and it's okay. It's embarrassing. It may be embarrassing. An adult may say, I don't know how to teach my children about Black education, because you can't teach what you don't know. Mm-hmm. But what I'm hearing is Black Education Station is the place to go for $9.99 to help you as a parent educate your children about Black history and moving forward. Correct?
Yes. So
it's not just
history. Sorry, it's not only Black history. That's just a small portion of the content that we have. We have STEM, math, science. My daughter was on there yesterday looking at the multiplication station. So we have all of those. We have health and wellness. We have edutainment, as Hotep can probably speak a little more to with his Black Lion and Cubs. We have.
I'm going to try to share my screen to see.
Oh, you have it pulled up?
I'm going to, see if I can share it so that everyone can see what it looks like. So this is the website.
Yeah, if you go to browse or something at the top there.
Up top, if you go to browse, you can
browse.
And tell everybody the website that she's on, folks, because we on the podcast too.
See that beautiful picture right there? Look at that.
We're on Black Education. We're on blackeducationstation.com.
Yes.
And the first thing you'll see, I'm assuming that this was drawn by Hotep.
Well, no, I'm not the artist, but I'm the creator of the series. Okay. That's my series, yes.
Well, go ahead and narrate it. Tell us what we're seeing. Go ahead, Candace.
All right. So at the very top, that's where we put our featured content. So some months it'll be featured content creators. You'll see like 3 or 4 people there. Right now we are featuring this brand new series from Black Lion and Cubs. So as you scroll down, it's a beautiful layout. I love the way it's laid out. It looks like a neck.
Yes.
It's very sleek, and it looks very attractive. But scrolling down, you can see the coming soon section where we have, our different series that are up and coming. We have category that is our most popular. So the series that are getting the most hits right now that most kids are watching, you'll find in the most popular area. And then if you keep scrolling, you'll see just added. So that is where you can find our newest series. And we are constantly adding content to the network. I would say maybe like every week or 2 weeks, something new is popping up on there. So even if you have it and you don't look at it for like a month or so, if you come back to it, you're going to see a ton of new stuff. Created by kids is one of my favorite categories. I love the very first one with working out with JJ. She's I think she's 12 now, but she does fit. She's an actress, but she has a fitness channel. So
What?
exercises and teaches a whole exercise routines for kids and
And
adults.
she 12?
Yeah, I think she's 12. She may be like 13 now, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, but all of these here were created by kids. If you see Ava the STEM Princess, she's a young lady as well. Black in Time, these are all created by kids. So that's one of my favorite categories. I love it because for a couple of reasons. Number one, it allows kids to see other kids and learn from other children as well. But it also, so my daughter wants to get into acting and she wanted a YouTube channel. I think a lot of children these days want to be like influencers or they want to be on YouTube and things like that. I love that BES is a place where they can do that. They can start creating their content in a place that's safe and not like on YouTube where it would be, open up to like comments and, people like, disapproving or saying things that are discouraging. So I love that we have a space for that. We have music videos, exploration, a cartoon section, books, interviews.
This is a lot of content.
Yeah. Special interests, all types of things. So there's something for everyone. But yeah, so that is what the platform looks like.
So what's the youngest content creator? So what's the age range? So I know you said children, but what's the youngest you have?
As far as who have created content?
The content creator?
I would say
maybe 9.
Yeah,
9. Get out of here, girl. That's good. We need to find me some content creators for a job. Look, let me get my grandbaby on there. Look.
and just for the record, I just want to make it known that Karen and Kat do not receive any endorsements from.
Please let people do that.
So we don't receive any endorsements. We're not receiving any money for this. This is just something. This was Kat was out and about as she always is, and she ran across these two great presenters, and she's been saying for the longest time, we've got to have them on. We got to have them on. They have great content. So we're not receiving any money from this. This is just, we wanted to be able to talk about the content that they are providing, this educational resource, because as we always say, Conversations with Karen and Kat is about matching the needs to the resources, and the resources are here, and we are a conduit. We want people to know about this information. And again, this is not a commercial. We don't get paid for this. We want folks to know that this content is out there.
But it's all a commercial. So let me say thank you, Karen and Kat, for what you guys are doing. But I was talking to somebody the other day about endorsements and such. And the truth of the matter is, anytime and every time someone shares about an experience or a movie that they saw and repost something that says, hey, I saw this great movie, that's an endorsement. That's a commercial. So at the very least, for us as people, Black people in particular, if even for the ask that I want to ask all people to do is it doesn't cost you anything just to make a post or say something. I heard about this. I saw this. Listen to this. That's all it requires. And you do it every time you say Netflix and chill. What do you just made a commercial for Netflix. You promoted them. You just made them some money. You understand? So, for people that, turn to Black-owned organizations and say, well, how much you're going to pay me? You already doing it. You already promoting these other institutions, these organizations, these, multi-billion-dollar companies. Every time you show your little bag, how much they pay you? They ain't pay you nothing for that. So stop. So, so anyway, don't get me started. I'm sorry.
No, but you're right.
We already got you started.
No, but it's right. You're walking around with a Gucci bag. You're walking around with a Gucci belt. Walking around with Balenciaga shoes or whatever. You're advertising. You're endorsing whatever that product is. So
because you know what? I know I either wear Karen and Cat, what side my logo on? I either wear this shirt or my shirt that have my name, Catherine Hardrick. I don't wear anybody else because I'm a brand. I'm running for office. And if people say, who you running against? Catherine Hardrick. You got to look them other people up. You know what I'm saying? How many times does Nike tell you to go look at Adidas? Never. How many times you tell Coke to look at Pepsi? Never. So we only talking about blackededucationstation.com. Who we talking about? Blackededucationstation.com. So I love the fact that, and I say this all the time, but this, I got to get to the mental health question. But I love what y'all doing because I truly, truly have ran across people who do not know where to start with teaching our young people, period. And a lot of this new math, I mean, I can't learn. This 2 + 2 is not. Look at Candace,
It's
girl,
a
that math, honey.
I just give it. I
Right.
I'd be like, go to daddy. Daddy's got the math. I can do
right.
science.
So we need help. Yes, and it's okay. And I've run into just parents just feel overwhelmed. They're working 2 or 3 jobs and they want to do the right thing by their kids. They just don't know where to go. So we could tell them to start at Black Education Station, and then they can build from there. And they can reach out to you guys to get more information and get involved and donate. Can people donate and support you guys? Look at me, I'm already asking for money.
Yeah, so really the biggest thing, if someone is interested in donating or sponsoring subscriptions or anything like that, the best thing to do would be to reach out to the network just via email, and we can connect them with our staff member who handles that.
Okay.
We do have options where, for example, Karen, I know you said you have grandchildren. You can gift a subscription. So you can purchase a subscription and actually gift it to someone else. So even if you don't have children in your own house, and a lot of people do that. Like, a lot of times I find myself at conferences and events where we're vending, and people will come by and say, hey, I don't have kids, but I love what you guys are doing, and I want to gift a subscription to my cousin or my son's child or something like that. So that is an option. But if someone's interested in sponsorships or collaborating from a school perspective or sponsoring a school, things like that, would need to reach out to us directly. But yes, definitely is the answer to your question.
And they can go to blackeducationstation.com to find the contact information.
I would say probably go to the IG. Their IG seems to be a lot more responsive.
Okay.
Instagram, or just shoot us an email. I'm PR@blackeducationstation.com.
Okay.
Yep. Or you can email me there, any of those.
Let's give out your number and everything. Yeah,
we giving it. We making sure. That's wrong. No.
That's what that contact form. That's what the contact form is for.
That's okay.
No, we good. We good.
I want to show it again.
But I love it.
I want to show it again. So what we mainly wanted to get out was the fact that some of us recognize and see that some of the curriculum is just lacking for our children, and that they don't see themselves, or it's not culturally competent,
relevant
to children. And so we want families to know that there are resources, and and part of that resource is Black Education Station to have in their toolbox. I do want to ask, as an educator, Hotep, what are some books that you would recommend for parents to have in their library for children?
Great question. So I'm a former elementary school teacher. And so my whole experience is early childhood development.
Okay.
I believe, like Frederick Douglass once said, it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men.
Oh, yes.
It's one of the most powerful statements I've ever heard. And it's so true and needed for people to remember that if we build them strong early, I'm talking about prenatal. Hold on. I'm not even talking about 6 years old. I'm talking about prenatal. If we focus on building our children strong, being proactive, we'll spend less time being reactive and dealing with the foolishness as they matriculate into their teens and as a young adults. That being said, some of the books. So my child is at elementary school right now, and I'm working with helping them do some consulting for them. Some of the things that I use as a kindergarten teacher to help 5 and 6 year olds write paragraphs. I'll say it again for those that don't really understand how much a child can do. I've literally have sat with 5 and 6 year old students that were writing multiple sentence paragraphs, 3 to 4 sentences by the end of the school year. And I know kids in second and third grade that can't do that now. You see, I'm talking about with capital letters at the beginning and punctuation at the end. Now, is it spelled 100% correctly? Of course not. Okay,
Right.
but some of the tools that we use. One of the things that I recommend all parents have is what's known as a Pictionary. I don't know
Okay.
if you guys know what a Pictionary is.
Yeah.
The Pictionary was a great resource. And I don't know how many different types of Pictionaries there are. In fact, one day I'm going to eventually develop one. Okay. But the ones that we used had on every page, it had a different scene. And on that scene, like it would have a city scene. All right. And in the city scene, it had all the things that you'll find in the city, and it'll have a word next to it. So building,
Right.
car, my children, part of the way they developed the vocabulary and the ability to write multiple sentences is because anytime in their mind they thought that they wanted to write about something, they knew where to go to find a picture of that thing and the word associated with it. So I used to have this one. I gotta find it. I might even have it up here in my office. One that I used to love. It was just a sentence from one of my students, but he wrote a sentence. My last name is Benzo. He said, "Mr. Benzo loves chicken," right? And he spelled chicken 100% correct because I would eat chicken like almost every day for lunch, right? And he had a picture of me with a drumstick. And he wrote, my name because he knew where to find my name, and he knew how to spell chicken because he looked on the farm page in the Pictionary and spelled chicken correctly. And for whatever reason, that sentence and that writing example, it was beautifully written. But my point is, obviously, it was children at kindergarten level don't necessarily remember how to spell the word chicken and the blends of the ch,
But
he
they could
knew where to
recognize the
find it.
picture.
Yeah, that's right. And he knew where to find it. He knew where to go to find it. So I would highly recommend that for parents of young children. I would also recommend as a resource for those that are attempting to build not only sight word, but letter recognition and sounding. Phonics is one of those magnetic boards, and the magnetic letters. And using the magnetic letters to put together words, they can define the D and the O and the G and be able to move that dog around and so manipulating those things, I found was very good. And also using the magnetic sight words. So I used to use the individual letters to make words, and then we had magnetic sight words to make sentences. So now they're building, they know this is the word, the letter A, this is the word like, I like money, I found money, and they put together. So this is how they were able to start formulating the ability to put letters together to make words, and words together to make sentences, and ultimately sentences together to make paragraphs.
So
outside of that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, so far every household should have of young children should have a Pictionary, should have that magnetic board so that they can put together with the alphabet so that they can spell out words and spell out their sight words. I love that.
And as far as books, I like the classics, all the Ezra Jack Keats books, the Dr. Seuss books. I'm a big fan of Shel Silverstein with his Light in the Attic. Those were great books as well that I find even relevant to this day. So,
give me those names again. You said Shel Silverstein?
Shel Silverstein. He had 2 big books of poetry, A Light in the Attic, and I forget the other one. Ezra Jack Keats. He was. I don't know if he was black. He was. He might have been white, but he had some color to him. Shel with one L.
Okay.
But Ezra Jack Keats had a series of books. I believe he was a white man, but he used to draw a black character. These are very old. And then I was a fan of the Dr. Seuss series, those books as well. The irony is, as much as I write books and create books, I don't spend a lot of time reading them. You know what I'm saying? So, as far as books for older people, now we can talk about J.A. Rogers, Sex and Race, From Superman to Man, George James,
You
Stolen
know
Legacy.
she's trying to write this down, Hotep. Now look, we trying to put it in the dang chat box now, Hotep.
Gotcha. All right. So J.A. authors, J.A. Rogers, the letter J, the letter A, Rogers. He had a series of books called Sex and Race. He also wrote a phenomenal book called From Superman to Man. Oh man, that book changed my life. So J.A.
Superman to Man?
Yes, From Superman to Man. He's talking about how Black people descended from their greatness, you see. And then George James had a book called Stolen Legacy. These are old books. My pops put me down to these things. Stolen Legacy, and it was about how, as you can imagine, our legacy has been stolen, and it was stolen by other people, and we've been disconnected from it to the extent that we don't know who we are. And part of the reason why we have so many problems in our community is because it's for that reason. We don't know who we are, and so we act in accordance with who we think we are, which is foolishness. But if we knew who we truly were, we would act totally differently. And that Stolen Legacy shares and helps us understand, wow, that was done intentionally to disconnect us from our true godly nature, because we're not sinful by nature, we're godly by nature, is the truth of the matter is. I'll say that again for anybody who's watching, right? I'll say it again. We are not sinful by nature, we're godly by nature. That one single idea and shift in mindset is transformative for all human beings. All human beings that understand that I will make mistakes, but by nature I'm godly. By nature, you see.
One of our listeners also recommends Where the Sidewalk Ends.
Yeah, that's Shel Silverstein again. That's his the other big book. It's like an anthology of poetry. Yeah. So and then I have to throw in the Hustler's 10 Commandments. If anybody out there don't have the Hustler's 10 Commandments, yes, that's why I got a guy named Hotep.
I was wondering when you was gonna throw in one of your own. I was wondering.
The Hustler's 10. That's what most people know me through, because the Hustler's 10 Commandments is still my most popular book, and I'm grateful to have been able to write something to that extent. And Black Lion and Cubs is my next big thing, if you will.
You've dropped some nuggets of knowledge, brother. And because I've always thought about, if our children knew and understood that they come from a place where there was gold, diamonds, oil, and it was so valuable where we're from that folks were willing to steal, kill, and everything else to get to those things. Like, all of that is in Africa. All of that wealth, natural wealth, is from Africa, and that's where we are from. And if our young people knew that, understood that, internalized that, I'm not even going to talk about the Garden of Eden, but anyway, if they understood all of that history, and I'm always looking for like good resources to be able to teach our children history, because I think once our children understand history, that knowledge is power. That's just me.
And so that's part of the reason why Black Education Station is so important, because the truth of the matter is, when we speak like that, all it is history. You know what I'm saying? All that is hundreds of years ago. Okay, but look at us now. So we as old folks can sit around and talk to young people about what was back in the day and back when, whatever. But the truth of the matter is they're looking for what's happening now, though. Look at Africa now. What's popping right now? And so we have to be able to bridge that gap and connect the dots. And so it's not enough nowadays to talk about what was back then and it's about what's happening now, who we are. That the fact is we're still those same people, right? That whatever that was then is in our DNA. The truth of the matter is, if any people in this world, right, is superior, it is the African American. Not just the African. And the reason why I say that is because we represent a people that have been cultivated, that have been designed and chosen, selected. They didn't select the worst of us from Africa. They selected the best of us, the strongest, the smartest. And then we had to make it through the transatlantic, across the Atlantic. So not only did they select the strongest and the smartest people, but then we had to survive those types of conditions to make it to America. So those of us that are here in America are the byproduct of selection, not just natural selection, and people selecting the best of the crop, the best of the best. We are those people. And so again, it's not just what was then. It's like, wow, we are those people. And yes, we're not sinful by nature. We are, and I'll say that again, how important that is. When people walk around thinking they're sinful by nature, then what do? Just go around sinning. That's what they do. And because in their mind, that's just who I am. I'm a sinner, so I sin. Now, if you change that language and then repeat that and affirm that and understand that I'm godly by nature, then the sin is the sin is like the outlier, right? The walking and talking and acting as a godly person becomes the standard for your life, and the people you hang around with, the people you lay in bed with, and everything else, the things that you do. Anyway, don't get me started. I'm done. All right.
I like
that. You want it because
we're godly by nature.
That's right. And we have to remove the negativity. We got to start turning down the negativity and raising up the frequency of that positivity. So, and that's the challenge. The more we talk about Black Education Station, the more we start telling ourselves that we come from greatness, that we are godly and not sinfully, like what you just said, then that's how we're going to help combat that. It has to come from all angles. So I love what you're saying. And you don't have to stop talking, because the more we talk about that positivity, that's where it's coming from. These kids and adults, they live that. And we got all that negative music and things calling us all out of our names. And then you actually got people trying to live like that. Like, no, we don't. And then it's music by us. I mean, you start thinking about people who get paid top dollar to destroy our image. It's character assassination. They get paid top dollar. But how much money getting thrown to y'all for educating our mind? I'll wait. Thank you. You don't see anybody run there and open up floodgates of money to Black Education Station, because they're trying to do like Florida and other places where as long as you take our knowledge, you don't know who you are, you're going to wander in the wilderness. And then you lose. But connecting to all of this, like what we're doing with Karen and Kat, what y'all doing with Black Education Station, and others who are trying to, I don't want to say save, but liberate. Give that information, because I know Harriet Tubman, aka Moses, she couldn't save everybody. Somebody said, nah, sis, this is good right here where I'm at. Sadly, but we know that that's true. We know that that's true. So now Black Education is saying, look, we on the other side. We got all this. Y'all gonna come with us. And I'm sure my girls and me and Karen and Kat, we like, yeah, we coming. So I'm glad y'all on this. I'm glad, because it's so important. I just fell in love, like I said, when I met you. And I've been hounding Candace for I don't know how long, girl. I know she like, maybe hurry up and get on this podcast, leave this gay girl.
Life be lifing, as they say.
Yes, so, it does.
Finally catch up.
But yeah. I want to make sure, I would be remiss if we did not give out emails, Instagrams, websites. So if you want to reach Hotep because you want to get in touch with him about Black Lions or any of the information that he has provided, you can reach him via email at makeawayschool@gmail. That's MakeAway school@gmail. His website is blacklionandcubs.com. And his Instagram link, you can find him at Black Lion and Cubs on IG. And if you want to reach Candace, Miss Washington, you can also find her on Instagram for Black Education Station at Black Education Station on Instagram. And the website is blackEducationstation.com.
That's a mouthful, girl. Ain't
it? I fumbled that bag, but I will have, as I go to repost this, I will make sure that all of that contact information is in on the postings and on the website, so that they can reach out, they can contact, so folks can go and subscribe subscribe to blackeducationstation.com.
Yes.
Because we have to be proactive in taking our children's education and supplementing it. If your children are in public school or private school, there's just going to be some things that we're going to need to supplement so that our children are excelling, because they're not getting these resources in school. And if you're homeschooling, then you definitely need to be using Black Education Station and some other resources
And
as part
sis,
of your information.
I'm gonna interject and say we should change the word supplement. Like, this should be primary. When I hear the word supplement, that means we filling in a hole. I think that this should be the primary. Who you are, and the content. You see who you are in these education, in the program, and the content creator. Like, this should be primary, and everything else you build off that. Because I don't want to say it in the nasty, because it is what it is, but I didn't have a whole bunch of Black people teaching me. You know what I'm saying? And so it's great to have, and I didn't go to, the HBCU, which I ain't have all of that. The sister had to go to the military, but the reality of it is, when you go and are blessed to be in them spaces, you're able to have people to pour into you and remind you of your greatness. And so many of us, so I just get at a little pushback. We not supplementing. This is primary. This should be the first go-to.
That's why I rep hard for Black Education Station as a father of 2 young children, and as an educator. I know how important it is in the early years, before 5 years old, not after 5. I'm talking about before 5 years old, the development of our children, their confidence. So before the A's and B's, I'm talking about confidence, self-esteem, belief in oneself, and being able to advocate for oneself. Those things are primary, to your point, for any success in any aspect of life. I don't care. And part of the reason why I transitioned from working with entrepreneurs to working with schools and school districts is because the majority of entrepreneurs, the reason why they suffer is not because they don't have the money and they don't have the knowledge. It's because they don't have the proper social and emotional competency to navigate life. The reason why we talk about mental health as an issue is because we haven't been given the building blocks of how to deal with real life situations, when people say no, when things don't go your way, when the plans don't work. So most people aren't built for the truth of the matter. People aren't being developed and built for what's to come in real life. And the unfortunate truth is that's the reason why we fail across the board. I don't care what it is in what sector. So that's the reason why, to your point, Black Education Station is so important, and why I rep for them, because that's what I'm in the process of doing right now with my 2 and 4-year-old. Black Lion and Cubs is all about that. It gives me an opportunity to teach lessons to my children through the superheroes, help them see themselves as superheroes, as powerful beings, and help them see their father as the guide and the protector of them, right? And their mother, and so they see these things happening. It's on the screen for them. It's for your children to see as well. Their parents as protectors and the first heroes for our children. That's who we are as parents. And you see all of that with Africa in the background, right? So now, because I'm not sitting there talking about, well, in Africa, no, I don't have to do that. You're hearing it, you're seeing it. Ask my child who Queen Isis is. The language, the vocabulary in my household for my 2-year-old, not to mention my 4-year-old, is, hey, Daddy, King Ramses, that's King Ramses right there. That's Anubis right there. That's Horus right there. Oh, Upper and Lower Egypt, that's King Khufu. This is the language that they use at 4 years old. You understand? So it's not even a thing to them. It's just natural because it's already built in, right?
Because they're learning it as part of their ordinary process, their daily process.
Exactly.
There are 2 comments that I wanted to point out. Someone from Facebook says the education of our children was never meant to be the responsibility of schools.
So true.
And another user from Facebook says, Kat is right. Everything else is meant to be a supplement to the primary.
I hope all these people got a subscription to Black Education Station. I hope they all say, yeah, put your money where your mouth are too, or where your hearts are. You know what I'm saying? Because, and even if you don't have children, as Candace said, subscribe and gift it to somebody else. Because
I love this. I love this engagement because another Facebook user said the mother is the first and primary teacher of the child. It starts inside the womb. And can I
Amen.
also say that the parents are primary teachers, but I understand that it starts in the womb. With my two younger sons, when I was pregnant, I played classical music because I heard that classical music is good for the brain and for that math brain. And one is a STEM major in college now, and the other one wants to major in STEM. He's a senior in high school.
Can I interject real quick?
Go ahead.
The beautiful thing to this is there is a science to success.
Yes.
There is a bona fide, documented science to success. And when people like to use that excuse, oh, there's no book for parenting. No, stop it. There is a science documented to success. There's some very basic things that if we do, right, then we're going to get that. If we pour in, we're going to get out as a result of it. And what you said is so true, right? In fact, on Black Education Station, there's a documentary called the Fatherhood Legacy Project, right?
What?
And man, it's powerful. Ladies, I'm telling you, man. It's so incredibly powerful. But in any case, in that documentary, it's talked about how the womb, right? It gives a quick analogy, right? As a man, you plant your seed in the soil, right? That's what we need to understand. This is the science of it all, plain and simple. As a man, you plant your seed in the soil. Now, number one, when you plant a seed in the soil, you want to make sure the soil is rich and fertile and healthy, right? So that when you plant the seed in it, it can grow. You also, when you plant your seed in the soil, outside of having a healthy, nutrient-filled soil, that goes to talking to women about taking care of your bodies before having children, not after, right? Before, right? But then again, hold on, let me continue, right? So that's the soil, right? But now the seed, as a man, you have the responsibility to ensure that when your seed is in that soil, that you're helping that soil be a nurturing environment for your child to grow, a gestate for 9 to 10 months. Now, if you're fighting all the time and arguing and listening, see now you're creating an environment that's not that healthy for your child. So don't act crazy now when your child comes out acting all you already put that in. That's the science.
All that
I love that concept.
Come on.
I love that because what you're saying is that education of that child starts before that child is even conceived.
Yes.
You can do, what is it, hypnosis? They have medicine that can take you back to your womb, and you could do that. Man, please. So it has to be some truth to that, and it makes sense. And like you said, you can read to your child before the child even comes. How many times have you been pregnant? If you've been able to be, Hotep, how many times when you was pregnant, you felt the baby move when you started reading?
Oh, man.
Or when you yell in your wife's belly and you say, I love you or something, and the baby, or you start singing and the baby responds and everything. You know what I'm saying?
We did the music too. We did jazz instead of classical. We did jazz. I listened to a lot of this calming, affirmative music. I started creating music. Let me say, hold on. I started creating music so my children could hear my voice over the calming music, and all it was affirm. In fact, I put it on some of this stuff on Black Education Station. So if you're looking for something that has a strong male voice, right? A strong masculine. Let me say it again. A strong masculine male voice, right? That you want your children to be, surrounded with, that has an affirmative language, clear language, something that's affirming and motivational and inspirational and all that. I'm telling you, there's a science to this, ladies and gentlemen. I wish I had the opportunity. I've been building the opportunity to have these conversations more and more often because I hate to see the oops factor in the Black community. You understand? Oops. Now I gotta, right. We always have to react. Right. I'm not here to endorse any other organization, but it is important to plan. It is important. Planning is part of the science to success. Hold on.
Well, listen, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? If you fail to plan,
prepare.
And but let me say this, and I understand that because I believe all of that is important. But if you did not plan, it doesn't mean that you can't have successful outcomes. So
facts.
once you find out that you're pregnant, start the education of that child in the womb. Start reading to your child. Start playing music and having affirmations, things that are positive, life affirming throughout that pregnancy. And surround yourself with people who are going to
uplift you,
uplift you,
support
so
you.
Yes.
all of that is educating the whole child, starting from womb to throughout their life, right?
And what we call that,
that's what this entire conversation is about.
And we call that the village. Hello. It takes a village.
Yes. And this conversation, I wish we had more time. I mean, we have all the time we want, but
I know, right?
I know people
I gotta get back down to my boy.
But I love this conversation. And it's life affirming to me to hear us talk about how we educate our children, because it can be done. And we know that our children can learn, our children can be taught. We just have to have the right tools, the right resources, and plug into how our children learn. Right?
And it's never too late for us to learn
that part as well. And Kat, John Harris was on. He was making comments. I had to point that out to you.
But look, sis, before you close us out, I do want to get in for both of them your mental wellness. We have to talk about mental wellness. We want to break the stigma. So really quick, both of you take it first. Candace, what's your mental go-to? How do you stay mentally connected and grounded and healthy?
I am an exerciser. So when I am stressed or just really daily, I try to at least take a walk. But exercise really is what helps me clear my mind and helps me obviously physically stay healthy, but mentally exercise is my go-to. It's easy. I've always been an athlete. I grew up an athlete, so it's kind of an easy go-to. So that's number one. But I also have recently gotten into like journaling and writing as well. So making sure that I'm capturing my thoughts and kind of what's happening around my different emotions and things like that. So that's also been really helpful for me.
Good. That's awesome. Those are good tips to give other people too. Exercise and journaling. I love both of those. Go ahead, Hotep.
Number one, it's important for people to know that music is a weapon, right? You talked about it earlier. Music has been weaponized against us. We can we can weaponize music for us. So for part of my regimen for my own mental health is making sure I have positive. I use music with intention. I don't just listen to the radio and let anyone. I don't listen to the programming of other people. I program it myself. You understand? Right. And so the music I listen to is designed to, just fill me with good emotions, good feelings, good energy all around. So number one, that's music. Number two, stay away from foolish people, man. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? Come on, keep them. Listen, I keep my circle small. People know me. I keep my circle small. I don't entertain gossip. If someone's coming around with gossip, like, say that. I don't want to hear that. I mean, even my wife, she's want to talk to me about somebody. I'm like, who is that? I don't even know who that is. I don't even really care. I don't even care. Like, that's not. No, I don't want to hear that. So it's important that people do that. That's why I always have to apologize when I speak, because I know I rub people the wrong way. I offend people, but I can only speak it the way I know it, right? I stay away from foolishness, ignorance, crime, people that are into crime. Hustler's commandment, it's one of the hustler's commandments, you gotta keep the squares out your circle. You understand? So whatever life you about, you have to be diligent to keep people that aren't about that life away from you, end those conversations, keep them, hey, love them from a distance. And I'm talking about family members too. You understand? So, and but then if you do so, you're not a nice person, you're not all inclusive, hey man, that's how I protect my mental health. I'm protecting mine. I don't know about what y'all doing. I'm protecting mine. So that's
protect your peace. That's right.
at all
Well, that's good.
costs.
That's awesome. See, those are good
Yeah.
tips. And we have to, the more we talk about mental wellness, the more we can start chipping away at that negative stigma. So I thank you for sharing that.
Yes. And it's all, before I do that, I want to say thank you to Hotep and Candace. If you want to
Yeah.
reach out to Hotep to find out more about Black Lions and Cubs, you can reach him on his website at blacklionandcubs.com. You can email him at makeawayschool@gmail.com. You can make sure you follow Black Lions and Cubs on
Yes.
Instagram, and it's
Yep.
Black Lions and Cubs. And you
Black
can reach
Lion, singular, just
Black Lion and Cubs. And you can reach out to Black Education Station on Instagram and also at their website. Um,
Subscribe.
make
Yeah.
sure you subscribe. $9.95 a month. And again,
Mhm.
we're not getting any money off of this.
Yep.
We're just bringing the information.
That's right.
blackeducationstation.com. I have enjoyed this conversation
Amen.
so much. You've I got an education today, and I thank you. And as always, I thank our listeners and our viewers who tuned in, who gave us this 1 hour and 7 minutes of
Hey.
their time and stayed tuned and commented. We thank you. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow Karen and Kat on all of our platforms. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, on our website, karenandkat.com. Make sure you, and then let us know what you thought about this conversation, and other topics that you want to see us bring in. So as
Right.
always, thank you for joining us on this episode of Conversations with Karen and Kat.
Where we are impacting the world one conversation at a time.